Hello, my dear students. Good morning and welcome to our physics class. Okay, so thus we completed our first law and second law, right? Okay, so what is first law? What first law is also called as the law of inertia, right? And what does it says? Yeah, when there is no external force applied on a body that is at rest or it is in uniform motion, but they have a tendency to continue its state of rest or its state of uniform motion, right? That is first law. And what is second law? Second law states that the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the applied unbalanced force in the direction of force, right? Okay. So these are the laws, first law and second law. Okay, so there is a consistency between these two laws. Okay, first law and second law are consistent with each other. Okay, so now let us see how it happens. Okay, so first law and second law are consistent with each other. And what is our second law states that? And second law gives us the how we can calculate if the force acting on an object, right? So what is the equation for force? Yeah, force is equal to mass into acceleration, right? Okay, so force we can get from second law, force is equal to ma. So now if force is equal to 0, which implies we can say force is equal to 0, then what we can find from here? If force is equal to 0, acceleration should be 0, right? Acceleration should be 0. That is, mass is a constant value. Any object has some mass, right? So it doesn't have a value of 0. So here, from here, A should be 0 if F is equal to 0. Okay, so there is no applied force, then we can say acceleration is equal to 0. Okay, that means the body is either the body is at rest or the body has a uniform velocity, right? It is in a uniform motion. Okay, so from here we can see or we can say the body, either the body is at rest or the body is in a uniform motion, right? Or it having a uniform velocity. Okay, right? Now this information we can get from the second law. And what is our first law? What is our first law? Yeah, first law says that when a body is in its uniform motion or is at rest, then it continue to be its state of motion unless it is acted upon by an external force. That means there also force is equal to 0. Then but the body has a tendency to continue its state of rest or of uniform motion, right? So these two says the same, right? Here also, unless an external force acting upon a body, the body has a tendency to continue its state of rest or uniform. That means F is equal to 0. The body is rest or uniform or at uniform motion says that acceleration should be 0, right? Okay, so both these two says the same. That is why we can say first law and second law are consistent with each other. Okay. So the first law of motion can be mathematically stated from the mathematical expression for the second law of motion. Okay, so that is given here, F is equal to ma and F is equal to m into v minus u by t. A we can write, acceleration we can write, final velocity minus initial velocity by time. That is rate of change of velocity is acceleration, right? So F is equal to m into v minus u by t. That is when force is equal to 0, v is equal to u for whatever the time t taken. This means that the object will continue moving with uniform velocity. That means if F is equal to 0 means from the equation what we can say, the equation F is equal to ma, we can write this as m into v minus u by t, right? So when F is equal to 0, we can see F is equal to 0 means whatever the time taken, m should be a constant value. So the time we do not bother about this time, whatever the time taken. F is equal to 0 means what? This v minus u should be 0. For that, v is equal to u. Okay, so the condition v is equal to u. That means final velocity and initial velocity are same. Okay, so that means what it means? Yeah, it has a uniform velocity, right? Or the body is in a uniform motion. So this means that the object will continue moving with uniform velocity u throughout the time. Okay. If u is 0, then v also should be 0, right? So this condition, what we can see, this is at uniform velocity. This condition is having a uniform velocity, right? And if u is equal to 0 means initial velocity is equal to 0 means v should be 0, right? Okay, so what is that condition? Yeah, the body is at rest, right? Initial velocity 0 means final velocity is also 0. That means the body at rest. Okay, so that is the object will remain at rest. So this is the consistency between these two laws. Okay. So first law of motion can be mathematically stated from the mathematical expression of second law. Okay. So first law we also stated from this second law. Okay. So now it's all about first law and second law. And now we know what is momentum, right? So what is momentum? Yeah, momentum is the impact of a force. That means momentum we can represent with the letter P, that is equal to mass into velocity, right? Momentum is equal to mv, right? And now we have to find one more quantity that is called as impulse. Okay, so what is impulse, or what does it says? Impulse, now we know what is momentum, right? And I think it is necessary to know what is impulse also. Okay, so impulse we can write, impulse is equal to force into time over it acts. Force into time. This is the equation for impulse. So what it means? Impulse is that force that is multiplied by the time, that is how much time it takes to act this much of force, right? So an instantaneous force, that is the force acting at this instant, so that gives us impulse. Okay, so we can define impulse is equal to the force multiplied by time it acts over. That means when a force of F is acting on a body for how much time? That is, a force F is acting on a body for how much time? The force actually acts on that body. Okay, so this is the force acting on a body, right? So how much time this force actually acting on that time? That gives us the idea of impulse. Okay, that means if I am hitting this duster with this chalk, that means this is the force that I given to this duster, right? So how much time it takes? Yeah, it is too much uh, 2 or 3 seconds, right? Okay, so how much time it takes over? That means this force, how much time this force acting on that body? That gives idea of impulse, right? Okay, so that is impulse. So we can define impulse as the force acting on a body multiplied by the time. That is, F is the force, right? F is the force, and this force, for how much time this force actually acts on a body. Okay, so that time multiplied by this force gives us the measure of impulse, right? So hope you understood what it is. The force acting on a body. This is the force acting on a body. So how much time it acts on that body? That time multiplied by the force gives us idea of impulse, right? So this is also written as, or we can write impulse as the change in momentum. That is, impulse is also written as change in momentum. Change in momentum we can represent delta P. That means P2 minus P1. We can write it as delta P, right? So how it comes? Here we have force into time. Impulse is equal to force into time. Actually, it acts over, right? So from here we get, that is, force we can write what? We can write it as the change in rate of change of momentum, that is, gives us the force, right? From second law we know force is directly proportional to rate of change of momentum, right? And we write this as delta P by T. Okay, this is given from second law. Okay, so now we can write this F as delta P by T into this time. Then we get impulse is equal to change in momentum. Okay, impulse is also written as, also we can get the value of impulse from calculating the change in momentum. Okay, so that is impulse. Okay, so that's about second law and momentum and also the quantity impulse. Okay, so thus we ended up first law and second law. Now we have to solve some problems based on these two laws. Okay, so here are some examples that are given in your textbooks. So we can take the first example 9.1. Okay, we don't have much time to do all these problems. These all problems are solved here, that is solved in your textbooks. Okay, so you just go through that and we can solve here some of these questions. Okay, so what is the first question that is given in your textbook? Page number 120. Okay, so example 9.1. A constant force acts on an object of mass 5 kg for a duration of 2 seconds. Okay, and it increases the body's velocity from 3 meter per second to 7 meter per second. Find the magnitude of the applied force. Now, if the force has applied for a duration of size 5 seconds, what would be the final velocity of the object? So now, what are the data given here? A constant force acting on a body or on an object of mass 5 kilogram. So the mass is given here. M is equal to 5 kilogram. Right? Okay. And what are the other facts given? The force act on an object of mass kilogram for a duration of 2 seconds. So time is also given 2 seconds. Right? And it increases, due to this force, it increases the object's velocity from 3 meter per second to 7 meter per second. So now we have the 3 meter per second. What is that value? It is its initial velocity, right? So we have 3 meter per second, and also final velocity is given 7 meter per second, right? So what we have to calculate? Find the magnitude of the applied force. So we have to find the applied force. F we have to find, right? So we have to find F. So from these given data, how we can find F? We know the equation for force is equal to MA, right? And now we have the values to find A, and also we have the value M. So from that we can easily find the value, the magnitude of force, right? So this we can write it as M into V minus U by T. Okay. So what will be the value? M is equal to 5 kilogram and V minus U means V is equal to 7 minus 3 divided by 2 seconds. Okay, so what will be the value? 5 into 7 minus 3 is equal to 4 divided by 2. So 20 divided by 2. That will be 10. That is 10 Newton. Okay, so the magnitude of force is 10 Newton. Okay, and now if the force was applied for a duration of 5 seconds, what would be the final velocity of the object? So this force, 10 Newton force, is applied within a time of 2 seconds on a body of mass 5 kilogram, and it gives the velocity of that body from 3 to 7. To increase the velocity from 3 to 7 meters per second, right? Now it says that if the force applied for a duration of 5 seconds, so this force, 10 Newton force, is applied for a duration of 5 seconds. Instead of these 2 seconds, the force given to the body within a time of 5 seconds. Okay. So what will be the final velocity of the object in this case? Okay, so that also we can find from here. That is, now we have force is equal to F is equal to 10 Newton and T is equal to 5 seconds, and also M the same mass, that is equal to how much kilogram? 5 kilogram, right? And we have to find the final velocity. Initial velocity is 3, right? So final velocity we have to find. So from the equation F is equal to M into V minus U by T, we can get the value of, we have to find the value of this V, right? So Ft, we can cross multiply this. Ft is equal to M into V minus U, and this M also we can take it out, take it this side. That is, this here it is multiplication. So when it comes to this left side, it will be what? Division. Okay, that is V minus U, and from here we get Ft by M plus U will give V, right? So now we have all these values F, T, M and U, and put all these values in this equation. Then we will get the final velocity V. Okay, so what are the values? F is equal to 10 Newton, time is equal to 5 seconds, and M is equal to 5 kilogram plus U. U means 3 meter per second. Okay, so this will give the value of final velocity. So what will be the value of final velocity? Yeah, this is 10 into 5, 50, 50 by 5, 10 plus 3, that is 13 meter per second. Okay, 13 meter per second. Okay, that means if a force of 10 Newton is applied during the time of 5 seconds, then the velocity will increases from 3 meter per second to 13 meter per second, right? That is final velocity is equal to 13 meter per second. Okay, so that is the question. That is the first question. Okay, and here we have the second question. Example 9.2. Which would require a greater force accelerating 2 kilogram mass at 5 meter per second or 4 kilogram mass at 2 meter per second? So this question you have to do as homework. Okay, this is also given, also solved here, and you should write this in your notebook. All these questions you should write in your notebook, right? And this you can solve. That means what is the question? Which would require a greater force accelerating 2 kilogram mass at 5 meter per second or 4 kilogram mass at 2 meter per second. So from this question we have to find both the forces, right? That is accelerating 2 kilogram mass at 5 meter per second, that requires a force, right? So that force you have to find by the equation F is equal to ma. F is equal to ma. Using this equation you can find the first force, that is the force required to accelerate 2 kilogram mass at 5 meter per second, right? And also you have to find the second force, that means the force required to accelerate a 4 kilogram mass at 2 meter per second square, right? That force also you should calculate, and while comparing that two forces you can get which is greater or which require greater force, right? So that is that question. Okay, and next one we can solve here. A motor car is moving with a velocity of 108 km per hour and it takes 4 seconds to stop after the brakes are applied. And calculate the force exerted by the brakes on the motor car if its mass along with a passenger is 1000 kg. Okay, so what is the question? A motor car is moving with a velocity of 108 km per hour. So the velocity of a motor car is given, that is 108 km per hour, and it takes 4 seconds to stop after brakes are applied. Okay, so that is a moving body, right? That is a moving vehicle is given, and also the velocity is also given. That means we have the initial velocity 108 km per hour, right? And when the brakes are applied within a time of 4 seconds, then the vehicle comes to rest after 4 seconds. That means initial velocity becomes 0, right? Okay, so here we have the vehicle has a velocity of initial velocity of 108. U is equal to 108 kilometer per hour. This unit you should remember. We have to convert this kilometer per hour into meter per second, right? Because all other values are given in SI units, right? Okay, So we have to convert this kilometer per hour into meter per second. Okay. So how we can convert this 108 kilometer per hour into meter per second? Yeah, simply we can multiply this with 5 by 18. Okay. So how this 5 by 18 comes? Yeah, 1 kilometer is equal to 1000 meters and 1 hour is equal to what? 1 minute is equal to 60 seconds and 60 second into 60 second, that means 1 minute is equal to 60 second and 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes, right? Okay, so we have to convert this hour into seconds, means 60 into 60. We have to multiply this 60 into 60 and kilometer, 1 kilometer is equal to 1000 meters, right? So all these values put together, then we get this value. To convert kilometer per hour into meter per second, we have to multiply the value with 5 by 18. Okay. So that is what will be the value. So on 6, I think 6 18s are 108. So this will be the 30 meter per second. Okay. So initial velocity we get as 30 meter per second. And final velocity we know. What is the final velocity? The vehicle comes to rest after applying brake, right? That means initial velocity is 108 and final velocity is equal to 0, right? And time taken is given as 4 seconds, right? And what is the question? Calculate the force exerted by the brakes on the motor if its mass along with the passenger is 1000 kilogram. So the motor car has some passenger inside, right? So the whole mass along with the passenger, the mass of motor car along with the passenger is given. M is equal to 1000 kilogram. Okay. M is also given 1000 kilogram. So we have to find the force exerted by the brakes, right? So the force required to stop that vehicle, that we have to find. Okay. So we have the equation F is equal to MA and F is equal to M into V minus U by T, and all the values. Now we got all the values. M is equal to 1000 kilogram, V is equal to 0 and U is equal to 30. Time is also given as 4, right? Okay. So what will be the value? Yeah, from here we get the value as 7500 kilogram meter per second square. That is, here we have a negative sign, right? That means what? 30,000 divided by 4. Negative sign also. So this will be 10,500 kilogram meter per second square, right? Or we can write it as Newton. Okay. So that is 7,500 kilogram meter per second square, or 7,500 Newton. So this negative sign indicates that the force exerted by the brakes is opposite to the direction of motion of the motor car. That means this negative sign indicates that this force is the force given to that motor car by the brake is opposite to that of the motion of that vehicle, right? That is the force. The motor car is moving, and when the brake applies, what happens? A force that needed to stop that motion. That means to stop that motion means we have to apply a force in the direction opposite to that of the motion. Okay, so this negative sign indicates the force is acting opposite to that of motion, right? Okay, so that is the question. And also next question is also you have to do by your own. Okay, so a force of 5 Newton gives a mass m1, an acceleration of 10 meter per second square, and a mass m2, an acceleration 20 meter per second square. What acceleration would it give if both the masses are tied together? So this is also like what we have to do. All the questions that we are discussing here, that comes under second law. That means we have to do the problems with this equation, right? Okay, so from this question what you have to do, force is given, the force is also given, and also what, acceleration given. So you have to find each mass m1 and mass m2 from this equation. Force is given, acceleration is given, and you can find this value by taking this acceleration to this side, right? Okay, so F by A gives M. Okay, so you have to find each masses M1 and M2. Okay, and after that what you have to do, the question is what acceleration would it give if both the masses were tied together. So first of all you have to find both the masses M1 and M2, and then adding up these two, then it will give the mass of the new object. That means the what would be the acceleration give if both masses were tied together. So the tied together, then when they tied together they have a mass of both the masses are added up, right? So that much of mass they have now. Okay, so with that mass, the mass m1 plus m2, this mass, then you put this mass into this equation, F is equal to ma, then it will give the acceleration. That means force is given, now we get the new mass, and then from that you can find acceleration. Okay, so that you can do by your own. Okay, so next question we can do here. That is the velocity time graph of a ball of mass 20 gram moving along a straight line on a long table is given in figure 9.9. Okay, so we have already studied what are velocity time graph, position time graph, like that. Okay, so now it is the application of that velocity time graph is come here. It is velocity time graph of a ball of mass 20 gram is given, and it is moving along a straight line on a long table. That is, here we have the velocity time graph of a ball having mass 20 gram. Okay, and how much force does the table exert on the ball to bring its rest? So the ball is moving like this in a table, and after some time it comes to rest, right? So how much force exerted by the table on this ball? How much force does the table exert on the ball to bring it stop? So here you have given the velocity time graph as velocity time graph like this, right? So this line, we know this is a velocity time graph for a body having retardation, right? That means or retardation, we cannot say retardation, that means it does not have acceleration, that is velocity changes at equal intervals, that is velocity is uniform, okay, uniformly decreasing. So the velocity is uniformly decreasing and finally it reaches to a value of 0. That means here we have the velocity is equal to 0. So how much time it takes to attain the 0 velocity, or how much time it takes to come at rest? Yeah, it is 10. It is given in that figure. That means in the velocity time graph. That is 10 seconds. It takes a time of 10 seconds. And from here we get the initial velocity. That means the ball comes from here, right? So here, what is the value of velocity here? Yeah, it starts from 20. That's velocity is given in centimeters per second. Okay, velocity is given in a unit of centimeter per second, and time is given as second. Okay, so now we know u is equal to 20 centimeter per second and v is equal to 0 centimeter per second, right? And what we have to find, how much force does the table exert on this ball to bring it rest? So here also we have to find F, right? So F is equal to ma, and what is the mass of that ball? Yeah, mass of that ball is given 20 gram. Okay, 20 into acceleration, we get from this 0 minus 20 divided by 10. So minus 40 divided by 10. That will give minus 4. What will be the unit of this force? Yeah, it will be gram centimeter per second square. Okay. So that will be the divided by 10, 4 gram. Okay, so we have to find the force, and force is equal to ma, and m is given as 20 gram, and acceleration we have to find from these values u and v, and we get F is equal to 20 into acceleration, we can write v minus u by t. V is equal to 0 minus u is equal to 20 divided by time 10. So from here we will get force is equal to what? 20 into minus 20. So minus 400 divided by 10. So it will give minus 40. Minus 40, what will be the unit? Here also, here we have all the units in centimeter per second and grams, not in SI units, right? So from here we get the unit as what? Gram centimeter per second square, right? That means mass is in gram, and here the velocities are in centimeter per second, and time is in seconds. So it will give gram centimeter per second square. Instead of kilogram meter per second square, we get gram centimeter per second square. And now we have to convert this force into Newton. That means this gram centimeter per second square into kilogram meter per second square. Okay, so from here we can convert, that is minus 40 gram. 1 gram we know it is 1000 kilogram, right? And centimeter, 1 centimeter sorry, 100 centimeter is 1 meter. So to convert centimeter into meter, we have to divide this with 100. Okay. So second is also in second. So we get what? We have to take how many digits? 2, 5 digits here. That means minus 0.00. Here also, here only 2 digits are there. So we have to put more 3 zeros here and 4, right? 40. Okay. So 2, 2, 1, 5. Okay. So this will be the value of force in Newton. So if you feel it difficult, that means the conversion, if you feel the conversion is difficult, you can convert the values from here also. Okay. So you can convert this 20 centimeter per second into meter per second, while by dividing 20 into 20 divided by 100, that will give meter per second, right? So this velocity converted into meter per second, and mass you can convert this 20, 1 kilogram is equal to 1000 gram, right? So you can divide this with 1000. Okay, so you will get the answer, the mass in kilogram, or you can finally convert when you calculate this acceleration, that is 20 minus v is equal to 0 minus 20 divided by 10, and here you get, that is what, minus 2 centimeter per second square. Then you can convert from here also, that is minus 2 divided by 100. So you will get 0.02 meter per second. Okay. So if you feel difficult to convert at these units at the end of this final unit, you can convert from the beginning also. Okay. What you feel easy, you can do like that. Okay, so that is the question. So now we get the force is equal to minus 0.0004 Newton. So this much force have to be applied to this ball, have to be applied by this table to bring the ball at rest. Okay. So this negative sign indicates that the force is being applied in the direction opposite to the direction of this ball's motion, right? Okay. So negative sign indicates the applied force is opposite to that of the motion of that ball. Okay. So that is the question comes under second law of motion. Okay. So now we completed our second law and we did some problems regarding the second law. So you should write all these questions in your notebooks. Okay. And you should submit your notes within this week. That means within this week. Okay. So let us stop today's class. We will discuss the third law of motion in the next class. Okay. So, okay children, study well and do the works properly. Okay. So we can meet in the next class. If you have any doubts while doing these problems, you can ask me anytime. Okay. So we can meet in next class. Okay children, thank you.